This is yours.
Yeah, our apologies for being a day late. Content is still going to be fantastic. Promise that, or your money back. But our apologies for being a day late. Typically, we drop, of course, on Wednesday morning. This is now going to be a Thursday drop. Rhodesia and I were in Detroit. Shout out to Detroit. What up, though?
What up, though?
It was good being back home. It was good being back home. We went to go see Kendrick and SZA, which was a fantastic, incredible concert. That was Tuesday, so we couldn't pod on Tuesday. So we just got home about an hour ago, which is right now it is 8:18 Central Time, 9:18 Eastern Time. And I didn't get much sleep last night, but I'm going to give y'all the energy I got. But what I will say is I feel like I've been up longer than Jey Uso's title reign at this point. Yeah. Right? So, with that being said, welcome to the TFW podcast. That's Freaking Wrestling. I believe this is episode 203, if I am not mistaken. Rhodesia, you know the episode number is 203, right?
Yes.
Beautiful. You guys know who we are. We are Three the Hard Way. I am your host, Matt, your favorite talker out here in these wrestling streets, joined by, they were astute last week. They are just going to give, we haven't even had a conversation about anything yet between the three of us. So this is going to be some fun conversation. Eon. Who the fuck is Eon?
This man is tired of this shit, man. We gonna do this podcast.
I like
this
that.
This man's known me for 40 years, man.
I ain't never called you no damn Eon. Eon is nuts. Eon is in the building. What's up, brother?
Hey, you know, the funny thing is, like, any variation of name, of my name, I'll answer to. I don't bother.
You do not, or you don't?
I don't. Nope. I don't care.
Oh, I do.
I know, yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, I'll take a Rhodesia.
Don't do it.
I'll take Rhodesia.
Rhodesia's also in the house.
Rhodesia. Since we're going by alter egos at this point.
Yes, ma'am. I kind of like Eon though. That's kind of hard.
Yeah,
that's kind of fire. That's kind of sweet. All right, y'all. So we got two major topics today. Of course, it was the aforementioned Jey Uso losing his title this past Monday to Gunther storyline, and we also got some real life stuff to talk about with R-Truth. Now around the Truth Killings back in WWE. Which one would you guys like to start with?
Hey, Mike, let me start this off real quick, man. Before we cut the promo, because you're tired anyway, so I just want to kick it off real quick, man. I want to have that real barbershop conversation. Jey Uso loses the championship Monday Night Raw. What the fuck is going on in that company? No, seriously, what really the fuck is going on in this company? They take the belt off red hot Jey Uso and put it on Ice Cube Gunther. Like, Matt, take it away, man. Explain to me, right? Because I know you don't mind that shit. Like, okay, cool. You just lose the belt. Blah, blah, blah. Like, explain to me how this is great for, a company where we sat this last week and said, you know what? The show hasn't been that interesting, right? So let's put it on cold ass Gunther. That's definitely going to sizzle some shit up. Like, right? We see like the crowd into the introduction and everything with him every step of the way. But take it away, Matt. Tell me, help me, educate me as a fan why I should be okay with Ice Cold Gunther being champion once again.
Well, you got one thing out the way. We see what side of the table you are on. You're on the what the fuck is this side of the table with Jey losing his title. Rhodesia, what side are you on?
I'm on neither side. Going into Armageddon, so whatever show that was in December, right? I was like, okay, where did he get an opportunity for a title match? And y'all was like, well, it's going to make it just that much more sweeter when he gets it at Mania. But deep down inside, being 100% honest and truthful with you, I laughed and giggled when he passed out. There was no emotion at all coming from me because somehow, just from what I learned from LA Knight from last year, I am not going to put my all and everything into Jey Uso. So I'm like, okay, well, they shitted on us. They shitted on you, Jey. It doesn't make sense to me, but who knows? Stuff hasn't been making sense in WWE on the top of the card for the last few months.
So you're right in the middle then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I had tweeted after, I only did one tweet. So I knew we were going to talk about a lot on the show. But I had said, Jey was here for a good time, not a long time. And Eternal responded and was like, I thought you'd have been pissed off. And I'm not pissed off because a couple different reasons why. If I'm looking at the title reign, they didn't do anything with Jey. If I'm only looking at title reign, I was out here a couple weeks ago and said, whatever you have this man scheduled to drop title, add on a couple months to it. He's that guy right now. When he cut that, this is my place promo, he had me going, let's go, Jey. They ain't had no plans for Jey Uso. Let's just go back to his entire title reign. His first feud was with Logan Paul. And then Gunther gets his rematch, and that's it. There ain't no plans for that. Now, I'm going to assume, now who knows, man, because if you just look at now that he's dropped this title, we said a few weeks ago, like, the Bloodline story is dead. We said that on 200. But damn, like, it was so many missed opportunities. And just how they wrapped up the Bloodline. Like, even at Money in the Bank, with now Jacob turning on Solo. And how, like, that was, like, kind of super anticlimactic a little bit. Like, he couldn't even say, I hate you, Solo. He just said, I hate you. Like, we half-assing, like what are we doing right now with some of these storylines where we were like, man, when this really starts blowing up, we in for it. So, like, for me, when I saw him pass out to Gunther, one, the match was great. Awesome match. Of course, it killed the WrestleMania match, just if you're talking about just from a match quality perspective. But when I noticed Seth Rollins showed up when CM Punk and John Cena had their face-to-face promo, I was like, oh, shit. Like it wouldn't have made sense for Seth to show up during the championship match. Remember last week I said I thought they were going to burn off that Money in the Bank briefcase on Monday. I thought Seth was going to try to cash in, and then Roman would come in and make the save if he didn't show up at Money in the Bank. So the story they've been telling with Jey was he was taking on too much. Remember, he had the injured ribs, and he was coming out to help everybody. He was there to help Cody. He was there to help Sammy. He was there to help CM Punk. He's there to help all these people. And every time he kind of got left laying, and when is too much, too much? Where evidently now we know too much was Monday night against Gunther. But, like, for me, I didn't care. Part of that is also because I feel like the cracks had been there before this, and they did a good job of patching some of them on Saturday night at Money in the Bank. But I was no longer invested really in Jey Uso's heavyweight championship title reign. They kind of like blew that for me a little bit. Of course, I didn't expect him to lose. I didn't expect him to pass out, right? But I'm just like, when it happened, I was like, all right, now let me just try to look for the positives. And to me, the positives is this. Now we're about to get Jey back with Jimmy. That's like a halfway positive. If we're talking about television, the big positive is now Gunther is going to, after we get through with this Goldberg stuff that we know is coming, it feels like now we have a champion back on Raw that they're going to book for. Because I go back to how they booked Jey since he's won the championship. It felt like he was kind of in his own bubble. And Gunther was so great as an IC champ. Because it was like he just took on all comers. He wasn't in a bubble. Like, he was part of the nucleus of SmackDown when he was running things on SmackDown as an IC champ. Jey wasn't like that on Raw. It was like Jey was kind of stuck to this whole Sammy, CM Punk thing a little bit, and then we kind of moved him a little bit to the Logan Paul situation a little bit. But it didn't feel like he had a title reign where it was like, all challengers, come see me. I'm the man. This is my show. This is my title. Let's do this. It wasn't that. So for me, I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're moving on from it now. But, I saw a lot of people, of course, bitching and moaning on X. And not saying like they're wrong, but a lot of them were like, what was the title reign for? Like, what was the point of WrestleMania? Well, the point was to give him that spot. He deserves that. He deserved to win that world title at WrestleMania. I'm good with that. I think probably the other thing that softened the blow for me was that R-Truth was back. If R-Truth was not back,
that could have been it, yeah.
And then we got that, I probably have a much different tone today.
I gotta tell you, so when Eternal was like, hey, Matt was surprised and upset. Well, to be honest with you, you look at the history of us on this podcast, it took y'all a really long time to get on the Jey Uso bandwagon.
And that's a lie, but go ahead. Get your shit
No. We have many podcasts. He eats too much. He needs to be more realistic. It took us a minute, right?
Yeah.
No,
I still liked him. I just said all that, just tone that down a little bit.
Well, see, there's like a level to things, right? The level wasn't with the rest of the crowd. It took y'all a minute to get to the level. Like, we like him. I never say y'all dislike him, but there's something in between hating and liking somebody. It took y'all a minute to get to that tippy top. And like, I think the journey never really got there, right? To get that true investment, right? Just this is when I listened to y'all talk, because y'all was really on them for like a really long time. We talk about Gunther. He just got finished getting off that championship, and it sucked. His reign was piss poor. So I'm not interested in seeing that run back. I don't think anybody's interested in him running back that championship. He wasn't booked great as world champion on his first run. He hasn't been really booked that well since he lost the SC championship. I'm not interested in seeing a do-over. They had a ready-made dude that the fans were behind already. His booking was okay, but a lot of what you see on WWE has been okay. It wasn't just the booking of Jey Uso. It was the entire booking, as Rhodesia actually said, like the booking at the top has been really weird for a number of months now. Maybe even longer than 5 months, actually. It's been really strange what they've been doing. And to take the belt off that man who has the crowd behind him, he's still selling merchandise. And it seemed like he was catching on a little bit to me, like his look, the style he had, his matches he was having. They had him out there as a defending champion. Almost every week he's defending. He's having quality matches. He's silencing people saying he couldn't wrestle. He's putting on good matches month after month with these dudes, week after week. And then you halt that to put the belt back on Gunther, who had a crappy title reign, and then at the same time, you building a heel faction with a Money in the Bank briefcase. Am I going to get excited to see Seth cash in on Gunther? Like, or is CM Punk gonna beat Gunther and take the title off of him, and then Seth Rollins is gonna cash in on him, and they're gonna pull the rug from under the fans that quickly, right? CM Punk finally did it. He got the championship. Whoop! Here comes Seth with the damn briefcase, right? It just seemed like some weird booking. Like we can watch the show real quick before you interject. We can say let's just watch and see what happened. But just if you look at what's happening, the story they can get to, it doesn't seem that it's that big of a deal. They could just let Jey do his thing, and we can have our Yeet Fest as a champion.
See, but I don't think there was ever a plan. If we look at his booking, I don't think there was ever a plan. I don't think this is hot-shotted. I think this was the plan. I do. Just if we look at how he was being paid.
Well, let's talk about that. Because that's more bad booking. Because if you got this dude, Jey Uso is probably, I'm not going to say he's one or two of the most overdues in the company. You don't book for that? You give this dude like a trophy win at WrestleMania and say, oh, that's all he gets? You don't look at the fan reaction that was happening in these crowds, the shirts, the merchandise, and say, oh, I'm going to put this dude back in the tag team division? You know how much of a downgrade that is? But and that's no shot to the tag team division is a mid-card championship.
Because you're saying he's one of the biggest baby faces in the company. I don't think anybody would take that as a shot. But what's funny is we had this almost same conversation at least a month before WrestleMania. And the question I had posed and what we talked about was, if Jey Uso wins the championship, who's his first challenger? We had a legit conversation about that. And I don't think we ever had an answer. Because, of course, that's not for us to answer. We don't know what their plans were going to be. But we talked about how important his first challenger is going to be to start that reign off right. And I think we even talked about on the show at some point about if Jey was going to be a transitional champion.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have something set up for him, my same thing I've talked about Obafemi in the past. When they call him up, they got to have his first feud figured out. They also got to have his second and third feud figured out before they call him up. You got to set that person up for success. And we could talk about the Yeet Fest. We could talk about now Jey picking the kids out in the crowd, and he's eating with dad, and he's got, his look and everything. But if the feuds are not set up properly, and Logan Paul is not a feud that is going to elevate somebody like Jey Uso. He's not. So really, if we wanted to just then take that feud out, we could say his title reign was some things with some other baby faces, and then he had his rematch with Gunther and he lost it. Now, to your point about Gunther's first title reign, I think part of it has to be who his challengers were. we know it was Damian Priest.
Yeah.
You know, give or take how you feel about Damian Priest. I still think there's something significantly missing with Priest, but that didn't get any of us really excited. Priest did some good work during it, but that was what they were trying to tell the story of
Damian Priest.
I'm scared.
That's what's missing. Judgment Day's missing. Judgment Day's missing from Damian Priest.
Yeah, he needs something. He needs something. So you had Priest, you had Orton, which was good. That was at Bash of Berlin. Looks like you had Sami Zayn on a random Monday Night Raw. Priest again. Priest, Finn Balor, and Gunther. Gunther beat Jey Uso, of course, Saturday night's main event. And then Jey beat Gunther at WrestleMania. So even if you look at Gunther's title reign, it ain't because of Gunther. And I don't think you mean it's because of Gunther, E. He wasn't booked to be in a space where it looked like he was just taking on all customers and he was who we thought he was, the ring general. They got to figure that out.
But this is back to the booking, right? Yeah. This is back to the booking. As we said, the booking's been weird. And take Gunther for what it was. But they did what they did with the man. Like, right? It just wasn't that interesting. Jey Uso, regardless of who he's against, has been a big part of the show. And people have been into it. People have been into Jey Uso at this moment, regardless of who he's wrestling against, much more than they have been any other competitor on the show outside of maybe the CM Punk. The CM Punk is catching fire right now, right? Gunther was never at the level of popularity and intrigue that Jey Uso is at right now. So at some point, if you got the pulse of like the fan base in your hand, you say, "Oh shit, maybe I need to do something with Jey Uso." So when was WrestleMania? What, April? What was Easter? What,
2
Easter
months
was?
Ago. Yeah, it would be 2 months.
So
ago.
in 2 months,
420?
You take the title off this man. That's not even a transitional champion at this point.
Nope.
That's not even transitional. Like in
less
2
than
months
60
later,
days. Less than
you
60
take
days.
the title off, and we talking about taking the title off the man in 2 months and then downgrading him back to the tag team division. I mean, what are they doing out there? Maybe we do need to watch AEW because at least Tony Khan is putting the right people in the right positions.
Hey, I'm watching AEW.
This shit's
brother.
getting ridiculous.
It's a good product.
I'm gonna say this, like I said, almost this time last year, maybe add a month or so onto it. And this is kind of I felt with Jacob, and I felt like I was laughed at and ridiculed, but I didn't want Jacob winning the title. It just seems like once you win the title, is very reminiscent to me of like UFC. The champion goes into the match as the winner, or what is the opposite of underdog? The favorite. They go in as a favorite, but that person, that underdog that has a little bit more grit, comes in and wins. It's almost like the moment you get that title, it's like, now it's the end, the downslope of your time. I'm gonna say your career, but of your time in that moment of time. And it just seems like it's a jinx at this point. Because most of them, I kind of feel like that your champions in WWE. It's like, okay, they're cool, but it's almost like they lose their luster. They lose that dog in them, that fight that they had in them to actually get the championship, because now they're trying to portray the championship. And maybe in that itself could be the facade. What we talked about before with Priest, like he has to put on when he was fighting, going against some one of the tag teams, he's making his voice deeper than he needed to be. That's not him. It just seems like the moment they get that title, everything changes, like big time. It's like, but you don't even sound like that. Normally.
I'll take good care of you.
So to me, I just feel like once you get that championship, it feels like, okay, you or your first album that comes out. You have the 20 years, 25 years of pain, suffering, agony, heartache, heartbreak that you could put into your album. That sophomore album usually sucks. Gunther had the best, to me, IC championship reign of my watching of wrestling. Of course, I can't talk about before, because if I was watching wrestling back then, I was much younger. But as far as my IC championship run, he has had the best ever. It's going to be hard to fill your own shoes, your own shadow. It just seems like once you get that title, it goes on a decline. And then hopefully some momentum picks up later, 6 months, a year, and then you can go back to the top.
Well, that's going to be... But that's the storyline, though. Yeah, like that's not the wrestlers. That is how they are being positioned.
But Matt, real
TV.
quick though, like historically, like especially WWE, they have a hard time building up heels for a babyface champion. Like, right? Like it's easier for them to have like a Seth Rollins or Triple H as a champion, so they can have people chasing them. And that's what the story is about, them chasing Seth or chasing Triple H or chasing, Roman. Right? It's hard to put like a baby face on there and actually have credible heels that's kind of chasing the baby face. I don't think they do a great job telling those stories in WWE.
And I do want to make sure that, at least for me, Monday Night Raw was fantastic.
It was
fantastic show from top to bottom.
Yeah. One main reason too why.
Yeah,
why it was a great show. Was
great. I mean, it just they were really clicking on Raw. Bayley coming back, like it was a really strong show. Once again, they just have to figure out what they do with their champions. And even if you take John Cena, right? Like everything Cena has done, nothing is as big as it should be. Since he's come back and turned heel, since Elimination Chamber, the day after that moment, nothing that John Cena has done in this run is as big as it should be. And it has nothing to do with John Cena, the talent. It is where, like, we go back to Money in the Bank, that tag match that I felt like was kind of just pushed together. And I got, we had some, and shout out to our YouTube listeners and viewers. A couple people, chimed in that they felt like, well, we did get a reason for this tag match. Cena's looking to ruin wrestling. And if him and Logan Paul, blah, blah, I get all that. But my responses to them was just kind of like, okay, but was that enough to get you invested? To the level of seeing John Cena and Cody Rhodes touch for the first time since Cody Rhodes has lost his WWE Championship in over a year. Absolutely not. It was not that. We know they were in the main event slot in Money in the Bank because R-Truth was coming back. Cool. But even that match, I'm like, for me, it was kind of like, all right, we're just hitting the beats. We're kind of just going through the motions. We're hitting the beats. And there was, one or two spots that like, okay, really had me like, okay, that was cool. But overall, I kind of felt like personally, Money in the Bank was a little flat. Both matches were great in terms of like the ladder matches, but like the show overall. But I wasn't excited to see it in the first place. So then on Raw, we get Punk and John Cena, which should be, and it was a really good segment. I thought Cena was great with poking Punk about having to go to Saudi. And Punk has never said on TV he didn't want to go to Saudi, but Punk made it known beforehand. Yep. Even down to like, all right, like, hero, if you want it, you got to come to Saudi. Like, they were really good. Of course, Punk did a great job in his promo. It just didn't feel as big as it should be if we're getting John Cena and CM Punk for the last time. If it's in Saudi, which is nuts. I get it. Maybe they're going with Cena and Cody at SummerSlam, but that feels like a waste to American fans to have their last match to be in Saudi Arabia.
But they gotta satisfy Saudi.
It shouldn't be that match.
It's a lot of money and it's a worldwide company, y'all.
I know, right? Like, but yeah, it's just like it's
like the NBA. The NBA is trying to be a worldwide, company. That's what WWE is now.
Speaking of NBA, real quick, can we get the trophy and the finals logo back on the court and not in a AI, like computer generated? Like, come on, guys! Like, what are y'all doing? That used to be some of the best. Like, when a team was in the finals, especially your team, there was like a pride of like what that like court looked like with the big Larry O'Brien trophy and then the NBA Finals logo. And like for them just like to throw something out there, computer generated, like on the court, I'm like, man, what happened? What happened to the game I love?
I do want to talk about the John Cena thing, and we can talk about this every episode until I think he has 11 more? No, 21 more dates like that, right? Or something like that. Cody, not Cody. CM Punk mentioned how many more dates he had left. So maybe 18. I think it was 18. We can talk about this on every single episode. It's so disappointing because the whole Cena last campaign started off as a dud and you just could never get it back. And it's just so sad because something that should have been so special, so wonderful, it started off as an epic failure. And now you're just digging yourself out, and as you're digging and pushing up, it's like quicksand. The more that you're panicking, trying to push up, the more you're sinking down. So again, for me, I love John Cena. I will always love John Cena. I'm going to ride this till the wheels fall off the bandwagon with him. But for someone who isn't a fan of John Cena like I am, it's almost like, again, another wasted championship reign. Another one.
It's horrible.
Yep.
Worst I've seen.
Yep. So that's that. Anything else on? So yeah. So what it looks like immediately after Raw, New Day posted up a video on social media with Xavier Woods going crazy, going hard on Jey. Hilarious 2-minute video. So we know where that's going now. What I'm excited about is the thought of course, we get to see the Usos reunite, beat the New Day, and then eventually get the Usos in the Lucha Bros. Like, that is a legit, true dream match that I don't think we thought we would see. That's kind of what I'm excited about. But yeah, I get your point of feeling like that's a downstep. I just don't know where else you go with Jey. Like, I saw somebody say,
look,
put him in the King of the Ring tournament.
Their creative is horrible. Their creative is horrible. These tag matches would be here in about 6 months. I didn't think he was going to hold the championship for a whole year. WrestleMania like Cody. I don't think anybody truly expected that. But I didn't expect him to lose the championship on a Raw 2 months later. These tag team matches, if that's what they want to go, if Jey and Jimmy want to get back together, great. Greatest tag team of all times. Give him a nice run. This can last until like SummerSlam and Seth can take the title off him or whatever the case may be. And now he has a respectable title run. This title run is not a respectable title run. This title reign in 2 months and with a couple of defenses is a dud. And he was owed more than dud. This creative that we're seeing from WWE right now is just like John Cena's heel turn. It's the shits. And they need to fix it. Because everything we're talking about, Damian Priest, Gunther's reign, John Cena's creative as a heel. It should have been. I'm not a fan. I didn't want to see him do anything, but it should have been much, much better. I'm sure anybody could have sat in the room and came up with better ideas to get these people to these different points. Like, if we want to get the Uso penitentiary again against the New Day, there's timing for everything. This ain't the time for it. This ain't the time for it.
Evidently it is, brother.
Yeah, I know you mentioned
Evidently it is.
that they're having a hard time building heels. I think kind of the opposite of it. I think that it's hard for them to build true faces. And it's like, the only thing I would say about the Jey Uso losing the title, like, why do that? Because we know how hard it is to build a true face, like something that the girls, the guys, the kids are going to cheer. We got that with Cody. We had that for Roman for a hot second. We had it with Jey. Pretty much that's it over the last couple years, that you had a true face, baby face. And I'm going to take Roman out of that because that was such a quick thing. So you have Cody and Jey, who are true faces. You should ride that until you start hearing multiple boos constantly from Jey. I just feel that they wasted a great opportunity of an organically built good guy than Jey Uso. And now you just devalued him again going back to a tag team. And that's not to discredit the tag team, but there is levels to this. There's the heavyweight championship and the universal championship. That's held as number 1A, 1B of the championships. Tag teams, no.
So that for both of you, do you guys both think, in the perception of the fans, Jey lost something? Like, will we still get the same amount of people yeeting next Monday, two Mondays from now? Will we still get the yeets during his promo, or they say it for him as much as we were 2 weeks ago? Or are you guys only saying, just from a positioning perspective, he was the champion and now we know he's not going for the IC title. We know he's not going to win the heavyweight championship again. So 1 + 1 = 2. We're going to assume that means he's going back to his brother and we're doing the tag thing. Is like, which part of it?
I think that the majority of the people, like the resounding majority, 98% of the people, is going to still cheer Jey just as much. As long as Jey stays personable, as long as he stays him, I think they're going to always relate to him. So I don't think he's, for the fan perspective in that way, I don't think he lost anything in that. But we just know that how hard it is to climb to the top as a good guy, like a legit good guy. We just know how hard that is. That only happens once in a blue moon. And when you get that in Jey, multiple times. You was getting it all last year this time, and y'all just dropped the ball on him. It's almost like, again, I go back to the Vince thing. No one person is bigger than the WWE.
You know what? It's I can see. I mean, he's still fun, right? You still want to come out and do the whole. Like I said, I'm not sure the last time you guys have been to a Raw show when Jay's been at the height of his popularity, like the past couple months. Like, right, it's infectious. We going. Like I told y'all, like after I watched that Saturday Night main event, I'm good, man. I'm good on Jay. Like they're not gonna do nothing for him. I'm good. I sat my black ass down in that chair at that Raw show, and I'm like, I'm not getting up. But then that music kept playing, and the energy was in there. The kids is eating. I'm like, man, I gotta get my ass up out of it. I gotta get my fat ass out this chair. I had to eat too. Like it's so infectious, man. It just feels so good to do it, right? So that's still there, but it's a different wrestler. But I remember Kofi Kingston. Like it wasn't just the black audience that was rooting for Kofi, right? It was almost the world that was rooting for Kofi, like right. That wanted to see him win that championship when we had Kofi Mania, right? And then he just lost to Brock in 2 seconds. And then he never challenged for the championship ever again.
Remember, that wasn't guaranteed. I'm like, since when? Do you remember that, E? Like, I'm like, where was his rematch? And it was a thing like, I think even someone came out and said, like, rematches aren't guaranteed. Maybe one of the GM at the GM maybe said it, whoever the GM at the time was. And I'm like, since when? I always thought that we had.
I don't remember, but I can see them making up some shit. For sure. Right? So I just can't see. So I say all to say this, right? So, like, you know, Jay's next promo is going to be important, right? If he comes out there and cuts that promo like, hey, I did my best, guys. You know, this is all I could do. Like, right? They go, oh, okay, Jay, cool, man. You just, you know, maybe we wanted too much for you. You not the main event, Jey Uso. You the mid card, Jey Uso. And so it's okay if you want to not get a title shot, right? Take a step back and then go feud with the New Day. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's cool, Jay. We still gonna yeet for you, man. But I guess we just gonna take that nickname, the main event. We're gonna take that off of you. We're gonna put you mid card Jey Uso doing mid card shit. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's what you are, right? Because that's what it is.
Hey, brother, I'll tell you what though. I guarantee you, this next tag team title reign will be better than his world championship reign was.
Well,
I guarantee you that.
Of course, for all the reasons why you just said. I mean, who did he really go against?
You go.
Hey, you know what?
At SummerSlam,
it's really easy to be super mediocre than it is to be a star. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could have a great mediocre. You could be in the middle of the card where people don't expect shit from you. Like, oh, you put on a good tag team match. That was a great segment. It's different than doing that than actually carrying the show and being the cornerstone of the franchise, right? So yeah, the expectations is less. So he can deliver a nice, solid mid-card tag team championship. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we'll book it right underneath the IC Women's Championship. You know what I'm saying? We're having going on before the U.S. Women's Championship. You know what I'm saying? So yes, yeah, we got some good shit going.
And he's still the main event, Jey Uso. So you put that on the box art, like you like to say, E, the poster, and now you got whatever match he's in is the main event.
No, he just gonna be Jey Uso.
He's gonna be main event.
That
Jey
shit
Uso
off.
Still. No, third match, main event, Jey Uso.
We're gonna get AI. We're gonna get AI, and we're gonna digitally remove main event from his name. He's gonna keep it moving. It's like the NBA.
Mediocre Jey Uso is nuts though. You need to be banned for that. Podcast for like 30 minutes. So we had that. Like I said, thought the match was tremendous. We talked about Cody or not Cody, but Cena and Punk and kind of what that looked like. I have a question about R-Truth. So should I give you my question first, which has nothing to do with the real life stuff, and then go back to what happened this weekend? Or should we start with what happened this weekend and then I give you guys my question?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so I'll give you my question first. What makes for a bigger moment now at this point? And I don't know if this is going to happen, but I'm just asking you guys. And really give it some thought, E. Just don't blurt out Cody. All right.
You want me to think? Oh, come on now, man. Don't do that to me, bro. I ain't trying to.
Do you have Ron the Truth Killings beat John Cena and take the title off of him? Or do you have Cody Rhodes beat John Cena and take the title off of him? Which one is a bigger story for like SummerSlam.
There's no this is like not even a question. You said which one's bigger, so we're talking about financially.
Will be a bigger story and bigger moment.
Still, you're still got the heaviest heavy hitters. It's still going to be Cody. I mean, for a fan, maybe we would say R-Truth, but no, like, and there's no disrespect to him at all. But when you're talking about just on paper, Ron Killings is not the same level as Cody Rhodes. He's not. So to me, this is the easy answer, Cody.
So this would be a good tie-in. So now actually I know your questions. This is probably sometimes we got to do the production meeting for the show because I think we probably should have did this last. But I'm going to say Ron True Killings being John Cena. We talk about, I think he deserves it because I'm going to stop there because I have a lot of things to say about the whole thing. Matt, what do you think?
Okay. And that's why I asked that question. Because they have an opportunity to give us the biggest, like, Cody beating Cena at SummerSlam, it's a big moment because Cody's back champion again. But then it stops there, right? Like, okay, and then we come on a pod and we talk about how, you know, great or bad the match was, and then we say, all right, so now what's next for Cody? All right, now is this where we see Cena, you know, turn back to babyface so he can finish his career off by December as a babyface? How does that look? But if Ron the Truth Killings beats John Cena, that is a whole different conversation and a whole different level of excitement, shock, awe that we won't get from Cody beating Cena. We all know Cody's getting that title back probably sometime in 2025. But we also know now, when everything went down with Truth, and he wasn't answering their phone calls because they told him they were not going to renew his contract. And actually, what I said last week I found out was incorrect. The word was last week was they offered him a contract. He didn't like the money. It could have been a low ball, and then they just didn't re-sign him. He said it was just a phone call of, hey, we're not re-signing you. And that was it. So, he sends that tweet out. And I guess after WWE heard and saw the outcry, they were trying to reach out to him. He wasn't answering their phone calls. Wasn't until Nick Khan got involved. And he re-signed on that Friday, the day before Money in the Bank. He comes out and he cuts that promo on Raw. If you don't have, and I'm not even saying that I would do it. This is just for us to have a conversation and throw the shit back and forth. But if you don't have Ron the Truth Killings beat John Cena for that championship, what else in the world could Ron the Truth Killings do in this run that would make sense for one final run? And then he goes and, of course, does either his Legends thing or he's an ambassador, whatever that looks like. I don't want to see him do anything else. It's just, put some respect on my name. Cena started his promo out before Punk came out there by throwing shots at Truth. To me, it's like, all right, well, this is what we're doing, and this is going to be fantastic.
I disagree wholeheartedly. 100% disagree. I think we're thinking in this moment and we're thinking emotionally as far as that response. How beautiful of a story that would be to have Ron Killings win the championship for John Cena. If we fast forward 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we'd be like, oh, that was another opportunity where, damn, they didn't have Cena's final run as big as it needs to be. I'm going to just be completely honest with you. Now, yeah, for me, hell yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fun. It'd be fun to watch. I like to see them how Ron Killings, how he's going to go. But if you're talking about someone like John Cena ending his career, if this wasn't his final match that he was going out, like you would think that rub would go to somebody else that he would give that to. So now you're about to give that rub of, because Cena's not going to win it again before the end of the year. So you're going to give that rub to Ron Killings, who's on the other side of his career. I personally disagree with that as far as if we go forward in time. Right now, cool, it's emotional, feels good, but absolutely not. I wouldn't do that.
That's why I wanted to bring it up, because I knew, because there is no, there's a right or wrong answer somewhere, but you may get 50-50 split on that, because you're right. You would say, okay, then we did all this just for R-Truth to be John Cena, and like, that's supposed to like get everything going. So I get it. So Truth is back, man. Showed up at the end of Money in the Bank, which was awesome. You know, he cost Cena and Logan their match, and he cuts a promo on Monday. Before you give what you got about just Truth, real simple for me. Love that he's back. Think that's incredible. Kathy Kelly was damn near about to start crying just covering that he was back. If that doesn't tell you just how important he is to that company in that locker room, nothing in the world will. But I hated Triple H's answer at the press conference. And Triple H has gotten away with being snarky at times because the product has been so good previously. And they are so hot that he really hasn't had to answer. I remember it was one press conference about a year ago where I don't know if somebody brought up something about Vince. And his response was, hey, there's a lot of good going on. Like, we should just talk about that. But that's not how, like, life works. Like, yeah, that's great. Everything is good. But if there's a question we need answered, we're going to ask that said question, even if it's tough. And when somebody asked about R-Truth and his just, like, response was, you like the show? All part of the show. I thought it was disingenuous. I thought it was lacking of empathy. And I also understand if he comes out and says, thank you for answering that question. Truth is back. We messed up. We made a mistake. We owned up to it. He's back where he belongs, and he'll be with us for a long time. And then he could end it at that. But I also get you can't do that, and maybe you don't want to do that, because then that tells the fans, hey, anytime we make a decision that you don't like with firing somebody, just try to get some social media attention on it, and maybe we'll bring said wrestler back. I get that. That's not going to happen, though, because nobody's universally loved in that locker room and outside the locker room like Truth was, right? As much as we love Dakota Kai, that ain't happening with Dakota Kai. As much as we love a lot of people that they have let go, it ain't true. So I just really didn't like that answer. And like that was a kind of a turnoff for me. And not a lot of people picked up on it. I saw it a little bit, but once again, because it's WWE and because they are so hot, it's kind of like, all right, well, he's back, so whatever. Let's just give Triple H a pass. I wasn't a fan at all.
Oh yeah, I heard the comment. Honestly, I didn't feel that strongly about it either way. To be honest with you, it's business, man. And people say shit all the time. Like the fact of the matter is that they brought him back, and as you said, they released a lot of people over these past couple of years, right? Really good talent. Like we were super surprised that Dakota Kai was released. And, you know, she has a pretty nice fan base, especially online. And it was R-Truth, Ryan the Truth Killings, that had the entire, not just, you know, online space, but they had arenas chanting this man's name. And it was like, yo, we got to fix this shit real quick, right? And you heard so many wrestlers coming out, right? And I don't know when they reached out to John Cena or when they reached out to Truth to get him back. But to me, John Cena is a guy who will, you know, go off script in a promo. Like, so I think in a lot of ways, because he wanted the match with Truth at the pay-per-view, last pay-per-view, correct? In my mind, I feel like that was John Cena doing a little homage to Truth right there. Kind of going into the chance about bringing him back. Like to me, so I think John Cena was actually felt a certain type of way too, and I don't think we've got anybody, as you said, that people felt that strongly about. So super happy that he's back. I'm super happy that this man got his job back, and it seems like now he's able to go out on his terms in his own way. Like right,
talk about it. Got his name. He said, "If I come back, I'm coming back as."
And that's great for him.
Killings. Yes, that's because I can take that with me. I'm building. Now I'm going to build up that equity on your television.
Yep.
So when I am no longer on TV, people already know who Ron Killings is.
They know who Ron the Truth Killings is anywhere he goes. Right, he's doing that on their television. I think that is a phenomenal deal. Right, this man got his contract. He's using his name. He's going out his terms, because not every wrestler can do that. Not every wrestler can go out on their terms in their own way. Like, right? And so the answer to the question, this is, like, I think it's the great question that you started off with on this segment, Matt. It's just that, like, a lot of my conversation will kind of is all encompassed in it. So for me, the reason why I say, like, yes, I can see him being champion is because we talked about building baby faces. And this is a baby face that has been made right in front of our eyes. It's a baby face that we didn't even know that we had. Like, right? Like, how loved the truth is. Like, right? Inside and outside of that company, right? The smarks, the marks, the casuals, everybody loves truth. So when they got rid of this dude, they're like, yo, what are you doing? Like, right? And so the reason why I say that this is a nice opportunity, because I don't think Cody Rhodes needs a rub from John Cena. He don't need shit from John. Cody is made already. Like, he's made already. He doesn't need to beat John Cena to put more emphasis on him, who he is. Cody is already the man in that company. He don't need John Cena. It'd be an awesome thing that they continue to build this babyface character, or whatever they're going to do in this last run for truth, to have him go out as a champion. He's never had a world championship reign. Like, right? I don't know. Maybe he's had an IC title reign 20 years ago. Like, right? But he's never been seriously taken as any form of a champion. So right now you got the whole world ablaze and buzzing over R-Truth. Why not pull the trigger and let him have one last run? Now, you talk about a transitional run, like, right, the run that Jey had. That's right. That's what Truth should get. And people will be okay with that. If he only has the title for a month or 2 months or whatever it's going to be, a couple of weeks, you can't take that championship reign from him. Like, right? This is his last contract, most likely. This is his last run. Reward that man and have him get an extra rub for his last bit of his contract. Like,
not at the expense of John Cena's last 18 days. No.
So you got a guy, right, who's over the entire world. You think that besmudges John Cena?
No, but you're missing what I'm saying here. This is a great story for today. It's a great story for today. But when you fast forward in time, you're going to be like, why did that even happen? Like, you have a whole career. The first time this has ever been done, someone is going to go on a retirement tour. This is my last year of wrestling. And in your last year of wrestling, you put over somebody who is already at the end of their career. We talk about wrestling 101. When you retire, what you do, you put that next person over, you give that rub. That goes against everything about what wrestlers do.
You know, the great thing about wrestling, it can always be revisited. It can always be rewritten. Like, you can make a history, especially in fiction. That's what this is. You can rewrite it however way you want it. Like, if whoever John Cena loses to, it won't mean a thing to that man's legacy. It won't. It's a blimp, and it's just a blimp on a long, illustrious career.
It's a waste of time of the next person. John Cena's, he's done. He's a made man. Ron Killings is a made man. Cody's a made man. Yeah. I'm talking about at the end of John Cena's tenure with WWE this year, 2025. If the biggest thing that came out of this year was that he put over Ron Killings, in years from now, you're going to be like, that was a mistake. Just like I felt like there was a mistake when Undertaker lost against Brock Lesnar.
But you broke the streak. But how does it? It doesn't hurt Truth. It doesn't hurt John Cena, and it doesn't. Actually, it helps Truth. It doesn't hurt John Cena or Cody.
You're missing what I'm saying. It does. None of this is going to hurt Cena at all. None of this is going to hurt Cena.
But I'm asking you, what does it hurt? I understand your point.
She's saying it hurts that we look back and we say Cena's final heel run, he lost the title to R-Truth. This is what you do.
Here's your thing, this is what you do. His heel run is already terrible.
So that's going to be even worse.
I got it. This is what you do. I understand that Cena just broke the record at WrestleMania. You have him double down on it, so he puts Truth
over. What record?
The world title record.
Oh, yeah, got it. Yeah.
Okay. Have him go 18 times out. So Truth beats him. You have Cena beat him in a month. Now he's 18 times, and you have Cody take it off of him.
I'm fine with that.
To finish that story.
I was going off of the route, off the thing
Cody's got to get his win back. You can't have just Cena go 1-0 against Cody. You got to have him go 1-1, just like they did with Cena and Rock, a decade or plus ago. So Cody's got to get that win back.
I'm okay with that. I was going based off of that. This is going to be Cena's only championship reign.
Let me tell you what they're going to do. Let me tell you what they're going to do with this heel run. This shit, they're going to admit this whole damn thing. When we look back at John Cena 10 years from now, they are not going to mention that he had a shitty heel run. They're gonna talk about how great his 30-year career was, and they're gonna have the "You Can't See Me." They're gonna have all the kids he affected to make a wish. They're gonna make it about his entire career. They are not gonna make it about his win-loss record in that last year. I'm telling you.
You're missing my point. It's like you blowing right past that stop sign.
I love you.
Going right past it.
I love you so much for this. You're missing my point. I understand your point.
But you can't retort to my comment and retort to my comment on something that's not what I'm talking about.
No, I understand your point. I'm saying it doesn't matter in the trajectory of where things are
going.
But
it does when you have the opportunity to give that rub to a young person.
What young person? Tell me.
It matters to wrestling.
But it's not Cody. But it's not. We talking about Cody or R-Truth.
No. What I said. Listen, please. Okay. You got 2 years, right?
Okay, Cody. Not Cody. Not R-Truth. I got it. Boom. Who?
Continue, man. What's the next question?
No, who's a young person? I'm interested.
It's not about Cody or R-Truth.
That was the question, though.
No. Stop. What I said was that I would rather, in no books, have R-Truth win it from John Cena, because in my mind, John Cena's not getting it again this year. So if you have this opportunity of John Cena, 30-year, 25-year wrestler who's about to end his years of professional wrestling, you're not going to give that type of rub to somebody at the end of their career. That's my point. I'm not saying that it was going to go to John Cena. I'm just saying I would not pick R-Truth.
You mean Cody?
Cody. But I'm not saying Cody.
No, the question was, what was
that was the question. Moment? Yeah, what was the bigger moment? Was it Cody or that's what I'm saying. I didn't know you moved the goalpost.
I'm still going to say Cody. Cody name recognition again. Y'all.
No, which is fine.
Y'all thinking so emotionally.
We don't have to be on the same page.
I really feel when you look down,
it's not going to change. I think E's opinion on do it the truth, right? And there's nothing that E's going to say that makes you change from saying put it on Cody.
Absolutely,
that was the reason why it was a great question. Because you could ask 50 people, and it may be 25-25 right now, that they would say either Cody because that's the story and he's got to get his title back, and other people would be like, no, we did all this for R-Truth. You're bringing him back. He cut his hair. He has his own name.
But he got his name now. He got that already.
One final run. He needs one final run. And one final run is not taking an IC title or not just main eventing whatever show in Saudi. No, it would be, all right, if we would truly give this man one final run, it's have him beat John Cena. Have him beat his childhood hero.
But if you're talking about biggest story, I'm going purely off of facts here. The bigger person, the bigger name is Cody Rhodes over R-Truth. So when you talk about the bigger, I can only engage it or measure it by who is the bigger wrestler. Just like we talk about Logan Paul, and we know I can't stand Logan Paul, but why is he in these matches? Because he's a big star. He has 100 million followers or whatever the thing, however many ever he has. That's the bigger star. That's Matt, bigger.
Who had the biggest segment on Raw?
R-Truth, baby. Ron the Truth Killings.
Okay, so now we about to pour ratings on one episode.
No, you know what? Well, and it was Punk and Cena. They're face to face. So it was both of them.
It was 1.6 with Truth, 1.5.
Oh my God, we're not about to talk about ratings in one thing. We talk as a response, as a one response.
Yes.
Cody. So all of Cody's. Go ahead.
Sometimes you gotta ride the wave, and this is what we're talking about. So we
try to ride the wave with Jay. We try to ride the wave with LA Knight, and what have they done?
We did.
I'm talking about I'm talking about these knuckleheads. They right? Did. If it was up to them, this man wouldn't be in the company right now. I'm talking about what they should do to do right by him and the fans. Like John Cena's run's gonna be his run.
But they have done right by Ron Killings. They brought him back and they gave him his name, so he's about to be able to take his name and move on in life with it. You don't think so?
But no, because now he's back, right? So you have to rewrite something. You weren't planning on having R-Truth. Now you have somebody
I get that.
Who is now a top merch seller in granted it was one shirt, but he's a top merch seller. He has millions of views on his promo. We have to use that now. So something's got to pivot. What are we going to pivot?
But
if it's not, even if this is a pipe dream. Right,
do you
think stick to it's gonna be Punk and Cena, and Punk's gonna get screwed, and Cena wins, and then we get to Cody winning the King in the Ring, and then we get Cody and Cena at SummerSlam, and Cody wins. Great, cool. That'll still be some good TV. But what do you do with Truth if it is not that? To make this for what it needs to be, what do you do with it? And we don't have to talk about that.
So then let's do this then. Cena and Ryan Truth. And then Seth cashes in.
Well,
same night.
So let's talk about that then. We didn't see Roman. Roman's was nowhere to be seen. I thought we were getting him Saturday to stop Seth.
I told you we wouldn't. He's on vacation.
You said he's still on PTO. And he didn't show up on Monday either. So now that another reason why, to be honest, I'm not upset about Jey, because when I saw Jey lose, outside of what we talked about already, my mind also went to, okay, now this is Sami Zayn's story time now, the underdog. And this may go until next year's WrestleMania, where he finally wins the championship. But you can only have so many underdog stories at once. And they've been planting this seed for months now with Sami talking about he's going to be champion. And I was like, all right, give me Gunther and Sami and stuff. I don't. What I thought was Seth's going to cash in and screw Sami, because it makes sense of where everything's at. Like this whole kind of heel turn after Mania started with Seth and Sami.
Yep.
Where they told
Sami's supposed to leave.
Hey, dude,
you need to leave town.
Go to SmackDown. Like, you don't want to get down and lay down. We got you a spot at SmackDown, and you're going to get a world title shot. Now, that's good long-term storytelling. When Sami finally gets his title shot, Seth screws him and cashes in on him. Of course, like I said, he can win it next year at WrestleMania if that's the case or wherever. But that's good long-term storytelling. So that was where my mind went, was like, okay, well, now we get this hopefully long Sami Zayn never won a world title before storyline arc.
Hey, but real quick though, I want to say one more thing about Ron. Like Ron the Truth Killings. I don't think you guys have ever seen Ron the Truth Killings, because he was the first Black NWA champion. I think 20 years ago.
TNA too, right?
That was back when it was NWA TNA.
Ah, okay.
That was back in the early days, right? So originally he got let go in WWF at the time. He was K-Quick.
K-Quick. I remember K-Quick. K-Quick was my guy.
He got let go and he went to TNA, NWA TNA at the time, and he went under as himself. He rebranded himself as Ron the Truth Killings, and he was cutting these awesome real promos. And he got so popular so quick they had to put the title on this man. So to me, we've never got that version of him in this company. We never got to hear him cut those promos. I mean, he had so much piss and vinegar in his promos. He was so articulate. It just was amazing to hear him as a champion. So if we can get a glimpse of that, even late in his career for a short time, I think it'd be amazing. Like, yo, if anybody can go back and look at Ron the Truth Killings in TNA and listen to his promos, man, they were fire. If we get that version, it's gonna be amazing.
But not like in real time. It was always like, later on. I was okay, like that was a promo, but I never saw it. Like, I never followed one of his feuds and watched it like, in real time. But of course, years later, all right, he cut this promo and then it was this match and he cut this promo. So I haven't seen it like that. I'm interested to see what he does. Like I said, they need to strike while he's there. But
it'll be interesting how the crowd takes to it though, because we've never look, we fell in love with the happy-go-lucky, I don't know where I'm at truth, right? Like, is the crowd going to fall in love with the art around the art truth character? Now again, he was 20-something years old cutting these promos back in the day, not 53. So it'd be interesting to see how he does in this current environment.
Good first step.
Yeah.
Promo was great on Raw. Like I said, numbers backed it up on social media. Interest is there. That is to summarize that awesome segment we just had. Interest is there for whatever they do with them. Somebody else that there's interest for, that I'm not over it, but I'm over the fans talking about this guy in the way they do. Let's stop with the LA Knight stuff right now, guys.
I brought his name up twice already on this show.
Just for a little bit. I'm over it. I'm over it right now.
What part are you over?
I'm over people complaining about him not winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. And what I'm over is not that, like, okay, hey, LA Knight deserves the briefcase, quote unquote. Nothing like that. We can look at the story that's happening on SmackDown. We just sat here for 15 minutes and talked about, should they hotshot Ron the Truth Killings over Cody Rhodes for John Cena. The story for 2025 on SmackDown is John Cena and Cody Rhodes with the championship. So you are going to give the briefcase to LA Knight for him not to win it.
Mm.
What sense does that make? People got to like think through sometimes. And I get it, right? We're passionate. Hell, we just saw it in our last segment. We're passionate about this because we love this thing. But the amount of people I saw complaining Saturday night and Sunday that LA Knight gets screwed over again. Third time in Money in the Bank. And he's always like the second person on the ladder. And then he gets knocked off. And we're not talking about like Naomi's been there like 6 times, but whatever. And shout out to Naomi. But we are going through this about LA Knight for him to not win. And then don't get me started on if you think he should be the one to beat John Cena. And then people can say, but Matt, you forgot. Champions can go anywhere. They also can go on Raw. I absolutely understand that. LA Knight's not going to Raw.
I think
challenge for the championship. That's not happening. This year was not for a SmackDown talent to get the briefcase.
I just know that as of last year, after this time last year, they told me exactly the value they saw in LA Knight. He will always be a mid-carder. And I'm not saying always like always. I'm just saying right now in this time in wrestling, with the top heavy hitters that you have, LA Knight is not going to break that. He's not going to break that top tier. He's not. And so I have been able to pull my feelings back. I thought Jey was never going to top that and get in that top tier, but he did. He just fought through it kind of like organically, kind of like the Daniel Bryan time for me, and like how I would compare it. But we see now that they're going to bring him back down.
Yeah, he hasn't been positioned to be a world champion. All right, we haven't seen the rise for him to get there. The closest he's got was that Saudi show with Roman. That's as close as he's got to being perceived as a potential champion. And even then he wasn't ready to win the championship.
Yeah,
I think at the time this is kind of where people are kind of forgetting that it's Roman Reigns had a period where people were kind of sick of Roman Reigns, right? It was kind of the same shit, same matches. We knew the same interference. We already kind of knew what was going to happen, so we were looking for something different. I think maybe kind of hoping that LA Knight will win, but that wasn't his time either. He wasn't the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns at the time. I think there's just too many baby faces on top in front of him. All right, I'll put him in that KO Sami Zayn like section, but I put him underneath those guys. Like those guys, like Sami and KO are guys who you can see challenge for the championship and maybe they can win, like right. But you don't really think of them as like the top superstars of the division, like a Roman, Cody, Seth. And they're not that. But they can stand right next to him and they won't look out of place. I don't think LA Knight is at that Sami KO level of stardom in that company.
No. And it'd even be different if he was on Raw. Because we could make a case. But the Seth Rollins stories is Raw. Right? But if we could make a case, if he was a Raw talent, you could say, with the Jey Usos, with the Gunthers, with I'm keep throwing his name out there because we know he's coming Goldberg. But yeah, but like we also know too, like we talked about last week when Punk came out, there was like it's time me to get gold, and people were like, all right, like we really don't believe it, but okay, like
not the heavyweight championship.
Maybe next Rumble, man. He's just not positioned on SmackDown for that. I mentioned it earlier. I want to go back to it because I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu. It's over now. Thoughts on that's how it's over. If you guys didn't see it on SmackDown, Solo was talking to JC Mateo and basically said, listen to me. We got everything. He does what I tell him to do, talking about Jacob. He's all gas, no brains. And then they walk away and then you see Jacob in the background. He heard everything. So that's what led to Saturday. But I thought it was anticlimactic. I hate it. As I said already, that he did not say, I hate you, Solo. I don't understand how that was missed. I don't know if that was intentional or what, but that to me, like that was the moment. You've always said, I love you, Solo. So how do you not say, I hate you, Solo?
Didn't he say, what did he say?
Said, I hate you.
I hate you. And that was it.
That might have just been him in the moment.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
He might have missed the line, that's all.
What you guys thought about that? And what you thought about Solo? His new character. And I say new because he really leaned into it. He's been leaning into it, like as he's managing JC, or he's been ringside with Jacob, where he's really showing his comedy. But he was nothing but a comedy guy in the ladder match on Saturday. On one hand, I'm happy for him because we know he's funny. On the other hand, I felt like it was a little too much during the match because he was like overly doing the comedy. And it's like, okay, now they're making sure that they distinguish who Solo is and who Jacob is and who JC is. And then, of course, when the Tamas come back, who they are. But just overall, like, thoughts on now we get Solo and Jacob, and that was how we got there.
Ever since that was Wale Mania in LA, I think, when Usos was there, and they were talking about how Solo is by far like the funniest person in the whole family. And we were like, what? And at this point, Solo hadn't even talked on TV yet. I don't even think he grunted yet. He hadn't made any noise. And he was just the enforcer, Stone Cold killer, silent killer. To be able to see this side of Solo, I'm enjoying it. I'm going to be really happy to see this side of him, because if he vibrates in a humor level, then I'm going to absolutely love him as being this type of heel bad guy. I can see how you said that during the match it was a little bit over the top, but I do think for the match purpose, and it's a ladders match, you got to turn it up just a little bit more than normal. Now, hopefully he doesn't continue that, because then that's kind of like cheesy and kind of corny, like how John Cena is a lot of times. But I'm okay with that, and that shows a huge contrast between him and then Jacob Fatu, because Jacob Fatu still is that no nonsense guy. He's still gonna F you up in any moment, where you get the complete opposite in that in Solo. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I didn't really have too big of a problem with Solo in the match. I mean, it was fine. It was what it was. Like, I think they're changing his character, trying to make him interesting. Like, right, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Jacob does. I mean, like, the crowd already had turned him, like a long time ago. I think that you could say that it was maybe climactic to happen in the Money in the Bank. Maybe not. I mean, I felt like the storyline itself was already stagnant with them. So, all right, let's go ahead and move this thing along. Like, right, let's go ahead and put Jacob on one side and Solo on the other, and maybe some more of the goons. Maybe, Tala comes out.
Has
maybe
he found the hard
comes.
cam yet?
Now,
Has he found the hard cam yet?
Now, can I say how they being WWE has embedded and brainwashed in my brain that every single time someone comes out who's like in this black clothing or anything, a hoodie, I always think it's a Uso, or I think it's a Samoan family member. So then when Truth came out, and first off, he had on a black, well, I'm like, oh my God, like, hold on for a second, because we were wired and engineered to think of, oh my God, it's a Samoan. But I'm like, well, none of that made sense. And then I saw the black Air Ones, and I was like, oh, and I saw a black ankle. Then I was like, oh yeah, that's true.
Hey, look, that's what I was like, man, whose black ass leg is that? Like, I don't know who this is.
But it's funny that we were or at least I'm wired to think that when somebody jumps in that ring or jump the barricade, it's a Samoan. What kid coming out now?
That's funny. I had no idea who that was. I was like, I had no idea who that was until he took his mask off. I had no idea. That's what made the moment even bigger. Right?
He was like, "That's a black Samoan. That's a black Samoan."
Oh, that man is tan. God damn.
He got the Braun Breaker tan. Hey, Braun looked a little funny. He didn't have the tan on. He looked sick.
Aw.
I was like, poor guy, go get that spray tan again, man. So yeah, so that's that. We got that. Speaking of the Samoans, by marriage, gotta talk about trendy Naomi winning the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. The women did it again. I thought the match was great. Outside of some of the bumps, like Chad Gable's a fucking freak. Like, that guy is nuts. Yeah. Like he just is. Like, some of those bumps he was taking off the ladder was tremendous. But I'm happy for Naomi. We talked about it. I think we all may have picked Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. I mean, that's the right call. That's where to go. She's in the creative zone right now, like she hasn't been before, and she's being allowed to. So now I'm excited to see what happens next with her, of course, and Bianca and Jade. But I'm happy for that. I think there's no way she doesn't win the championship.
Well, right now it's still 100% for the women's side.
For the women, right?
Yep.
For the women. So yeah, so that's exciting. Giulia has not connected with the main roster fans yet.
Oh, she hasn't?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I have one suggestion.
Don't bring the contacts. Don't do the contacts.
Yeah. Now, granted, when Roman had his contacts in, I was like, all right, what are we doing? He took them out. I was like, okay, thank God. But yeah, she hasn't connected yet. And I'm wondering, it's interesting. It's something to keep an eye on.
But again, so it goes back to, now I do feel like she has more momentum, at least in my fandom, more momentum this go around than when she debuted at NXT. But it's that same thing, like the Cena and Orton, how they are like parallel careers to each other. When Stephanie Vaquer and Giulia came on NXT, I'm like, Giulia's just like a little step behind her as far as the aura that exudes out. Same thing again. You're kind of bringing them both up. Okay, one went to Raw, one went to SmackDown, but you still coming up together. So to me, I think that she's gonna kind of always be little sister in this case, which from what it sounded like before she came to NXT, that she shouldn't be. Like, she is a force all on her own. But that's just what I'm feeling, what I'm getting.
Yeah, I mean, I told you, like, language barrier is going to be a thing for her. And I mean, I feel like the outside of Asuka, I feel like a lot of the Japanese women take some a minute to kind of catch on, because the audience has to learn who these people are, and they have to learn their characters and their nuances. Whereas with Stephanie, Stephanie actually speaks, her English actually is pretty darn decent. She has like her accent is thick, but I can understand her a lot easier than I can Andrade, for instance. But as you said, like Stephanie's had like this aura, right? And then her moveset, like, right? Everybody love like them knees, right? Everybody love them knees, right? So she already has like a couple of moves that pops the crowd that people are really into. Like, right, when you think of like Giulia, she doesn't necessarily have that finish or that move that people can kind of relate to. They don't know who she is as a character. Like, right, she can't really speak to it just yet. So until they actually, the audience can actually learn who the woman is and where her motivations are, and they can kind of invest into her character, it's going to take a little bit of time. That happens to all of them, right? That has, Io when she first came up, took her some time. Kyrie is still figuring it out, right? I think this is probably her best she's been since she's been on the company by herself. Like, right, Asuka immediately was almost like Stephanie, right? There was, when you saw the woman, there was something about her. Like, right, you just something about her, you didn't understand her, and then when she started doing the crazy talking, like, it just was fascinating. Like, right, Giulia doesn't have any of those elements, so it's just gonna take a little bit of time. I don't think it's something. I told you, like, it's gonna take a minute for her to kind of to figure it out, or for them to figure out creatively something for her. I feel like she's just gonna be to the part. Now we're having a conversation like a year, maybe a year and a half from now, if she's still kind of in the same spot, but again, like, Kyrie has been around for a long time, and she's been around for about 5 years, and she's just now, I think, catching on.
Well, she's another one too that, like, you can tell there's a little bit of opportunity, maybe just from a presentation standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And
actually, Kyrie at least had the elbow, right? The elbow was like really impressive looking. I don't think there's anything specifically from Giulia's repertoire. I'm like, oh shit, that's really great. And that's
the thing, exactly. And this is not an indictment on Giulia,
right?
This is presentation.
Minus the eyes.
Is what I'm talking about, right? Like, because you're right, E, in terms of like how she's been presented, but you had an opportunity when you called her up to add to her presentation from NXT.
But that's why I didn't like her
NXT.
But
remember, I said when her and Stephanie was there, I put out, I think maybe on social media, and I had a few people who was like, Matt, you tripping, you're wrong. Like, no, Giulia's hurt. Where I said, like, at this point, Stephanie's a step ahead of Giulia, and it is a pretty significant step when you're watching them on television. And people were like, no, man, Giulia's this, Giulia's that. And she is, but she's not getting the reactions. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm only strictly talking about reaction. I'm not talking about her work rate or nothing like that.
Nothing like that.
When they show her backstage, not much of a reaction. When her music hits, not much of a reaction. And what I would just suggest is figure out what you want to have this woman be. And if that's video packages, I don't know, whatever else that may be, there's an opportunity there. That's
I mean, the audience doesn't know her yet. But see, the thing about it, they don't necessarily know Stephanie yet either. But man, like I said, the camera finds her. The camera finds that woman, man. Like, it's even more evident with the WWE main roster production behind her. Like, with her entrance and everything, like, kicks it up a notch, right? So then when the camera just naturally finds the woman, you got all that production around her, it's just something to see.
And that
see,
video package
and
they hit her with on 2 weeks ago was fantastic too.
that's what I was talking about too, about Giulia coming on. I said this maybe about 3 weeks ago now. Her coming to Raw with Roxanne. I'm like, did that discredit her a little bit by debuting her? And I know it was for exposure and such, but if that first appearances you're seeing Giulia, the first set of times she's in the ring or you see her, she's working with Roxanne, a young talent from NXT. To me, it made me feel like, okay, and then when I saw Stephanie, now I think when Stephanie came up, she had the championship, or maybe not quite yet, she had the championship, but like the second time she was on Raw, she had the NXT championship. And that to me, like, oh, so she's a champion, even if I know nothing about her. And let's say the or didn't matter to me, which you can't deny it, but she's a champion. Where Giulia, when the first few times we saw her, she was with Roxanne. It just, to me, it just didn't. You kind of already told me where I need to peg these people at. Again, we have time. We have time. Like you said, if this is a year and a half from now and we still talking like this, then we know kind of where she's going to always be at this point within the company. But it is a big difference, a major step.
But I would have brought Giulia with. I would have probably brought her with somebody, and put her in, create like a faction, put her in there as a faction, and and then that way she doesn't have to necessarily carry the segment with the talking or anything like that. So when we brought her with Roxanne, I was fine with it. But I'll tell you what though, man, her music kind of hit though.
Hers is good.
Yeah. Money in the Bank. Because I didn't necessarily know, because I don't recognize her music when I see her. When I hear her music, I don't think Giulia yet.
Got you.
So like when her music hits, I'm like, oh, who is this? Like, right, and she came out there, she has like the whole thing. So I mean, like I said, I think give her some time, give her some creative direction. I think she'll be all right.
She will be. Yep, she will be. I was just wanted to bring that up. Radiz, you brought up Roxanne. I guess this would be my weekly put Roxanne over segment because, and
she's really good.
Yes, she's very good.
She's really good.
She fits like a glove on that main roster.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they're asking her to do right now, she's knocking out of the park because they're kind of asking her to do a lot.
Yep.
Backstage segments, promos backstage, promos in front of the live audience, working these matches, and she's not like she's sometimes the main person in the match. Or just take Monday for instance. Her job was to convey that she is there strictly to help Liv for the most part, until that's not her job anymore.
Yep.
And after she did a tremendous job, facials, she's really fucking good. She's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that.
Yep.
Right. This is like literally what I think all three of us have been asking. I know E, you said you wanted to see like some, what is her character, kind of flesh that out a little bit. But I know Radiz and I, this is what we've been talking about for a while now. Like she's been ready in NXT. So I'm happy for her. I'm happy for her.
Hey,
E, did you watch? Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, real quick, this is off topic. I just saw this. There's a new championship in AEW.
Oh God!
No, it's not.
It's for man or
no,
female.
It's not.
Male or female?
Tell me, it's a consolidation of a championship.
We gonna find out. It's the new AEW Unified Championship.
Oh, so there we go. There we go.
So it's. Okay. I'm not sure if it's the Continental and the International. I'm not sure what they're combining, but I just thought that's interesting that we got another championship.
All right, shout out to that though, because that's got to be for Okada and Omega. Okada has the International and Omega has what?
The Continental.
The
Continental.
Yeah, I always want to say Intercontinental.
So because it's natural. You would naturally say that, right? You're a wrestling fan. Intercontinental. And you got just the Continental. It's like a ripoff almost, right?
Right. So good for them. Good for them. Oh, speaking of that too, a lot of you alleged or probably maybe do haters are like overly top haters of AEW, and you just love everything WWE does. Never say anything bad about WWE. Y'all showed yourselves this weekend.
What happened?
I have not had a chance to watch Worlds Collide yet. Radiz, you made a comment last week. You asked us a question on like, hey, what is WWE's end game with this show? It's not on Peacock.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you see they broke YouTube live record. Most views for anything that was live on YouTube in history. And kind of that's what we talked about last week. I think I said like, hey, exposure. Same weekend as Money in the Bank. It's on YouTube. You can pull it up anywhere and everywhere. So it worked for them. And everything I've heard from about that show was great. But every clip that I saw on social media, which they did a great job of shooting it. We even talked about it. I said, hopefully they don't make this a WWE Mexico production. This needs to be just AAA with, more eyes and better production. And it was. The camera angles, the moves. I saw a lot of people who shit on AEW clip up Vikingo, clip up, look, what's his name? Iguana Man? Lizard Man? What the hell was his
Iguana
name?
Man? I think it's Iguana Man, right?
Mr. Iguana. Hey,
Yeah.
Mr. Iguana, this dude, he is hot right now.
See?
I'm into the WWE modeling community, right?
Okay.
Man, like within 2 days, we got 4 versions of this guy. Like, this got 4. This man's hot right now, at least in wrestling terms.
No, but he is. I think they already got merch up for him on
That's
WWE
crazy.
Shop. But so I've seen all that, and people are clipping it up. But they are the same people who want to bitch and moan about Orange Cassidy. They were the same people who want to bitch and moan about the flips and stuff that happened to AEW. All I'm saying is, you guys are showing yourselves. If you enjoy Worlds Collide, try AEW. That's all I'm saying.
So Worlds Collide is my type of show, huh?
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Sure.
so I don't know if this is fully official yet, but the new AEW Unified Championship is the International Intercontinental Championship, and allegedly is going to be scheduled for Omega and Okada at All In, Texas.
Told you. I figured as much.
Unified.
Yeah. It only made sense.
Is that the name of it? Is this the AEW Unified Champ? Is that the name of it?
That's what they're calling it. They said that it was announced on June 11th. So, of course, this is still all new, fresh,
right
and
now.
fluid. Yeah, but that's supposedly what just was announced.
So, but that's a positive, no matter what they call it,
Yeah.
because they got rid of a belt.
Yep.
That's a
Unified
positive.
Championship.
Let's keep unifying everything.
Now, as
please.
long as they get rid of the 2 championships and have just 1 championship belt. Now, I can see they dumbasses added an extra belt.
Oh.
And so now the winner got 3
of
championships.
them?
Because it said winner takes all. So that's what.
So
Oh, God.
so Kenny Omega or Okada could come out the next week with
3 champions.
3 championships, 1 around the waist and 2 on each shoulder, right? I mean, 1 on each sholdder.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Oh, Lord.
I do have a
Wait.
question.
Because it is a new championship belt. So I'm thinking
Oh,
they
yeah.
are going to eliminate the other 2.
Yeah. They'll replace it. Question, and this is really important. Is it winners take all? Is it winner takes all? Or is it winner take all? How did they say it?
So how they said it here
How
or
they
how it's
say it.
supposed to
No,
say it?
No, how they said it.
Winner takes all. That's the way that I know it to be.
Yeah.
Winner and takes is plural because
Takes,
winner is
yes.
one person. Singularity.
WWE was saying winner take all, and I'm just like, that
Winners
doesn't
take,
sound right.
yeah, something like that. Winner take
Winner
all.
take all, yeah.
Yeah.
It's takes all.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Same thing on Saturday night's main event. Like, ugh. It should be Saturday night main event.
No, but it's on Saturday night. So it'd be
Yeah, but the
nights.
Saturday nights, that
No,
that
but
doesn't
Saturday
even sound
night's
right.
main event. It's the main
Saturday
event part.
nights.
Yeah, Saturday night's main
No,
event.
it's Saturday night. It should be Saturday night main event.
No, it should be. Okay, let's not argue on that. I do want to bring up Karrion Kross. Word is that he hasn't re-signed yet. Now, granted, he's been keeping things close to the vest. I wouldn't be surprised if he has signed and he hasn't said anything, but I have a feeling because I think Sean Ross Sapp talked about it first last week or 2 weeks ago. I didn't bring it up yet. I got a feeling that Kross is one of the guys that maybe he talks to. I'm only going off of, I know Sean has relationships where he actually talks to some of these wrestlers.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact a few of them that he talks to. I don't know about Karrion. I can't say that one. But he was the first person, the only person that came out with that report. And the report was like, in sources close to Kross says about it. And I'm like, all right, well, that's probably either Scarlett or Kross himself. But what's y'all thoughts about, are they really about to let this man go?
That's why I said what I said 2 episodes or last week. Like, we didn't have him in. You didn't even give us the ability to even root for him in Money in the Bank. Yes, I know he's not going to win, so why do it? But still, and he hasn't had a match on Raw now for over 2 months. Again, scratching the head. I guess so. I mean, he's been doing some things outside of WWE. I don't know if it's outside WWE, but I know he's been doing some other projects. Maybe they're like, okay, good riddance for him.
They ain't doing shit with that, man. Let him go on somewhere. Like maybe because AEW didn't pick him up last time. Maybe they pick him up this time. Because we cut that promo. I'm not sure how long ago it was. But
the backstage one,
the backstage one about him not
WrestleMania
being
weekend.
used, and it was all the work, whatever. Yeah, okay, we didn't really see much of him after that, right? He can cut those promos on AEW TV, and Tony Khan and that crew would love it, and I think it would be really good television. Like, there's a lot. AEW is doing a lot of. If you are a hardcore fan, they have a lot of nice things for you. They actually have a lot of wrestlers positioned correctly. And goddamn, you think about it, man, they got a lot of really big matchups that they can ride out for the next year and a half if they really wanted to. Like, right? Like, wrestlers they've been kind of holding off on for years. Mm-hmm. Like, but it seems like we're finally starting to get them. I don't know what they've been holding off on, but look, Karrion Kross goes over there and he cuts those pipe bomb type promos. I mean, I think it'd be something to see. So, like, for me, if I'm Karrion Kross, look, if you're not using me, let me go. Like, right? Because Tony Khan gonna pay me. Like, right? I'm gonna have a nice schedule and I can express myself creatively. I can do my thing. For me, if I'm him, I'm out.
Speaking of AEW and like released talent, so Ariel Hirani has had Cora Jade and Shotzi on his show the last 2 weeks, and both have brought up them wanting to go to AEW. They'll be open to it. I already said I think Cora Jade needs to work the indies for a while. Just, really find herself and do that whole thing. I think Shotzi would be a really good person for AEW. She fits what they do.
They're crazy lunatic. Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. She's one that I wouldn't mind seeing in AEW, and more so for her to be able to show her art the way she wants to.
Mm-hmm.
I guess she made a comment. Somebody, of course, tried to talk slick to her about, the first thing you do when you leave WWE is, work garbage matches, and she was bleeding and all that kind of stuff. And her response was, yeah, I made more this weekend than I had in the last month and a half with WWE.
First off, stop. Y'all, okay. I want to get so big so that like those kind of hate mail, hitter mail and stuff will come in. But just ignore that. Like, just like that person who called Naomi a pig. Like, what? Why am I wasting any time on your comment? Yeah, like, why am I? Look at you, look at me, kind of thing. Like, why? Because she's out here doing what she wants to do, and she's still passionate about. That's what you should be saying. Bravo that you've been able to go out and have a match that you wanted to have. Instead, now you're doing garbage matches. Like, go find Jesus or something, or some kind of salvation.
But those are the people who are just WWE through and through, and I'm riding for you. You sent me that. I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. You sent me a tweet that I laughed so hard about. This is probably about a week and a half ago, and it was the fan to who used to be Mariah May. She's no longer Mariah May. Oh, here it is right here. And this lady says, "Best of luck, Mariah May. I'm going to miss you. So happy I got to meet you last year." Like, you can just watch her every Tuesday on NXT. She's not fucking going anywhere. She didn't retire. You don't have to miss her.
Right.
Actually, you can see her even earlier now. You see her on Wednesdays. You can see her on Tuesdays now. What the hell are we talking about, man? She got a name change that people were kind of talking about.
Do we know it yet?
Yeah. I just forgot it.
Oh. May Mariah.
No, it's not. Nothing to do with Mariah or May. Last name is Monroe. Her name is Blake Monroe. Blake
That's cute. That's cute.
Blake is the name of her niece that she absolutely adores. And I think, I'm guessing Monroe is just like Marilyn Monroe.
Okay. No, that's a cool name.
You know what I'm really interested in? I think I've asked before, but I don't think any of us know. Why do certain wrestlers keep their name and others don't? Like, right? Because Mariah May is legit her name. Like, right? So it's like, why can't she be Mariah May?
Oh, because then WWE can't own it.
But so I think they just brought somebody into the car. I'm losing the track over the last person they brought over. Like, say Jacob Fatu, for instance. Jacob Fatu was Jacob Fatu, right? They signed him. He's in there, right? Jeff Cobb has to be JC Matayo, whatever his name is, right? Mariah May can't use her name. Like, why do certain people get to keep their name and others don't? Like, I'm just very interested in that.
I also wonder,
Oh,
if
wait a minute.
it's-
Ethan Page. Ethan Page is Ethan Page. But then, Ricky has to come as Ricky Saints.
Good call. Maybe I don't know this to be true. Maybe Ethan owns his own name. Maybe he's copywritten his own name, and that was part of the deal.
That can make
'Cause
sense.
I know it's been a pretty big deal with a lot of AEW wrestlers owning their own names, so maybe that was part of the deal. What I was going to say before you brought up Ethan, so that throws out what I was about to say. But what I was going to say was maybe it's where you made your name from, right? Like Jacob made his name outside of anything that would be looked at as competition for WWE, where Mariah did not. She made her name in AEW.
What about Sean Spears? He went by Sean Spears in AEW. Ty Dillinger in WWE. He came back not as Ty Dillinger. He came back as Sean Spears.
Same thing. I wonder if he owns it now.
But
good
Mariah
question,
doesn't need to own her name. Her name is her name. It's like, right? So I'm just interested. I'm interested because I know, for instance, like with AJ Styles, right? I think he leases his name or something to WWE. I think he said that.
And remember how big of a deal that was when he debuted with that name?
With his name.
That
right?
was like, yo, what's happening? He got to keep his name?
So I'm really interested. I wonder, is it one of those things to where, like, all right, part of the contract, do they offer more money for you to change it, or
right.
is it
some type of split?
Do you lose money if you don't change your name? Or I wonder what the real mechanics about that is. It just seems like it's not consistent with how they do these things.
If Moxley ever goes back to WWE, what do you think his name would be? Dean Ambrose or John Moxley?
Absolutely John Moxley.
It should be Mox. And I can see it already now.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Mox.
Hey, if Cope comes back to WWE, what do you think his name's going to be?
Motherfucking Edge. Include the motherfucking on it too. That's his name. I do wonder if Edge is hurting his legacy by going, or did he hurt his legacy? Like, will people look at his run differently 10, 15 years from now as fans? Not, anybody who, is anything like that, but just as fans, I wonder if they don't care, or is enough people not watching his run in AEW for that to even matter? But I do wonder, like, if he's hurt his legacy a little bit.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. I think those people who knew Edge, if they were huge Edge fans, know that he didn't hurt their legacy, because in itself, you are a huge Edge fan or Moxley or whatever Copeland fan. Everybody else just didn't watch him, because as we see right now in times, either you're watching WWE or AEW. There's only a few people who actually watching both. So it's more of like, okay, he still wrestles. He's no longer in WWE. I'm not following him, so he's not hurting his legacy because I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that a lot of like, as you see, there's Sasha Banks's fans. They didn't follow her to AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Maybe they watched that first show to see what she was doing, what she was about, and they saw enough and didn't tune in next week. Didn't tune in the week after that, right? So for them, out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
What about Jericho? Do you think Jericho's hurt his legacy over the last year?
No.
I think Jericho maybe have hurt his legacy with maybe outside of wrestling things that was going on, and speculations and rumors and stuff like that outside of wrestling. Wrestling, no, because when he went over to AEW, it was like, holy shit, like this was like the first time I ever saw somebody who was at the end of their career in one promotion go and take off and is instrumental in bringing them and putting them on the map. So at that point, it was like anything else he could do after that, he already solidified his positioning and his legacy there in AEW as well. So I'm going to say no. It's like, okay, go take yourself out, put yourself out in the back. But I don't think so. Wrestling wise, I don't think so.
All right, so since this is probably one of our last segments, I'm going to say this. Y'all, so you guys know, like, those people that you run into, like, you ain't seen their ass in a long ass time. You like, oh, hey, how's it going? Hey, where you been at? You catch up and like, you give him a big ass hug, and you're like, man, that was a good guy, a good gal. But you ain't thought shit about that woman or that man in years, right? That person ain't crossed your mind, right? You ain't thought about them now one day in your life. Remember, I had one of my good customers came in the other day, right? I ain't thought about this woman in a year. Like, not one day, not 1 minute after I thought about this woman. But when I saw her in that moment, I was happy to see her. I was like, oh, hey, where you been? Right? We got caught up. It was, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't hug like that, really. So you, like, if you didn't know me, you wouldn't know I'm not a hugger. Like, I hug people I love. Like, right? But I'm not a person that just goes around hugging everybody. That ain't my thing. Like, right? But I went, gave the woman a hug. And, like, it's like, great times, good client, good customer, right? So I ain't thought about that woman not 1 minute of the day until I saw her the other day. Like, right? That's Chris Jericho. That's fans who ain't watched AEW. Like, right? They ain't thought, like, when he left, they ain't thought about that man, right? He pop up tomorrow on the Hall of Fame, right? One last run or whatever the case may be, like, oh, it's all love again. I remember all the good old days of him doing the Shawn Michaels match and the list, and they go through all the accolades and his highlights and things of that nature. I'm like, damn, I miss me some Jericho. But they ain't thought nothing about his ass since he's been gone. Where he go?
He actually moved up on my list in the first couple years of AEW in terms of like all time.
Mm-hmm.
We may have had that conversation.
Yeah, no, we did.
But
we said,
boy,
whoa.
has he fallen off the cliff over the last year.
But Jeff Jarrett. But if you go 2 years from now when he's done, if he's done, you still can't take away from Jeff Jarrett's career.
Oh, no, Jeff Jarrett's trash.
He is right now. Absolutely
he
is.
His career has always been trash. His career, he's been trash for 20 years. Trash.
So then I guess his legacy is intact.
Yes.
Well, yep. and whatever Jarrett was doing, like, he wasn't an active performer. You know what I'm saying? Like, when Jericho was there actively week to week, month to month, whatever the case that may be.
Now, you know who was damaging their legacy? Okay, never mind. I'm about to get canceled.
No,
Rey Mysterio with LWO.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no. At first I was like, bro, these don't do it, but you actually got a point, though. I'm like,
well, see, y'all got it. I mean, I guess you're not wrong, kind of.
Yeah.
Whatever. Because I'll just stop there. I'm gonna stop there. Y'all got anything else you want to go over?
Yes, because because in the episodes 200, right, burning all the bridges, any potential bridges that was about to be built, burning them all. The biggest thing that we got out of Raw, you gonna just like not bring it up?
You got it.
We didn't have to listen to Pat McAfee.
I was letting you have your runway.
Hello.
Last week.
The reason why Raw was so good. Yeah, we had some good promos, some great in-ring competition, some great exchanges. We got to actually hear two great commentators in Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. We didn't have to deal with Pat McAfee. I love you, Pat McAfee. I love you. I think that you are needed in the company, in WWE. At times, I think you bring something that is so amazing of like this young kid spirit. Like no matter how old you get, you have this love and passion for professional wrestling, and we feel it and we see it. But sometimes we just got to get to business. And sometimes it felt like you were trying to be more over and put yourself over on something that was actually happening in the ring. That might be wrong for me to say that, but that's just how I feel. I'm happy I didn't have to hear Pat McAfee. It was refreshing. Now, maybe he can come back next week and then not be there next week. And I probably would love that. Get like a Roman Reigns, contract as far as being on commentating. Get back in the ring. I'm quite sure you had a great time in the ring with Gunther. Get back in the ring. And I will love that same energy that you bring on the mic in the ring. That's a character. We should be seeing that. But when people would talk about, I wouldn't call her Brie, but the referee in AEW, people were getting mad at her because she's making it all about her in these matches. I didn't think that was the case. I just thought that she was over. I thought they would put respect on the name of a referee. But in this case here, it was great. We didn't have to hear crazy yeeting. That's probably why Jey Uso actually lost, because Pat wasn't there for him to yeet. So take that all back, right?
Damian Priest has confirmed he signed a new contract with WWE. As part of the deal, he negotiated to sit in first class on flights. I was like, hey, I don't want to be in pain anymore. I don't want to wrestle and then be hunched over because I'm sorry, I'm a big guy and I don't fit. And they were like, yeah, that's not a problem. You should have had that already. And I was like, well, I don't know the rules. I don't know how to be politic. I don't know how to politic. I don't know how to ask for stuff. That's just not me. But that was the first time they were like, yeah, you can sit at the front of the plane from now on. So shout out to Priest. That's great. It's crazy that, once again, those are some things that we think about it, but we don't get the car rides and the plane rides, things of that nature. And then also shout out to Drew McIntyre, too. We didn't shout him out. His match he had with Priest, the word is he's going to be gone for a little bit. They said his body is jacked. Like, he can't turn his neck fully, I think, either to the left or to the right. So he's taking some time off. But we know it's not ballet. We know wrestlers fall down for a living. So you're going to get hurt. But think about just if he can't turn his neck, he's out there bumping, and then they worked a cage match, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It was some gimmick match. I think it was some gimmick match. But yeah.
So
that reminded me of Kenny when Kenny couldn't turn his neck or his head from side to side without being really painful. It's again, everything I said critical about all you wrestlers, I take it all back. But for real, just because I am a consumer of this sport of pro wrestling, I'm gonna tell you how I feel from my heart. But you're right. Like, who would have ever thought somebody like Damian Priest, who was a champion, like, has to negotiate to be able to sit front row?
Crazy. Hey, before we sign off, I'm gonna make my mark my words comment.
Mark my words. All right.
The Pacers.
Oh, what we got?
New in the NBA champion.
NWA champion.
Come on, NWA. I still got the truth in my mind.
Okay, so right now they are up by 7 with 3.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
The Pacers
are you going by any chance? If they lose this game, you still saying they champions?
I don't think they're going to win this game. I think they're bringing the first championship to Indiana.
Okay, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it at all, to be honest. I just sent you guys real quick before we leave. I just sent you guys a clip. I need you to look at this clip. We just talk about AEW. AEW in all fun. Y'all take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Look at how Kenny Omega sells. Come on, Kenny. Be better than that, man. Okada clotheslines Kenny, and Kenny does his best.
No elbow
Friday
drop.
the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, death scene.
Like, it's not even enough time for the blood to come out of your mouth yet from his elbow drop.
They clipped it.
Oh, okay.
He looks like Kenny sounded like he got stabbed.
Yo, he got diverticulitis.
Oh, that's right. Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Oh, I got it. Okay. But be better, Kenny.
Kenny, I got you, Kenny. We coming up on AEW.
I love that.
We bringing it back.
That.
We bringing back the love, y'all.
That made my day.
Oh, man. All right, shout out y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for checking us out. We are, of course, on all platforms. Y'all know that if y'all listening, you have found us already. So tell a friend, tell a family member. We are on X. That's freaking wrestling. That's F&W. YouTube. That's freaking wrestling. TikTok. That's F&W. Instagram. That's F&W. And shout out to you Spotify listeners. I was looking at some of our numbers, and I think like 40% of our listeners are coming from Spotify. And then we also got a percentage that's coming from Podbeam. I don't even know what Podbeam is. I tried to I don't get it. But shout out to everybody who's listening. And I think it's only like 12% or 15% that's listening on Apple Podcasts. So maybe I'm gonna stop shitting on Android users.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all make the world go around. Shout
Yeah.
out to y'all.
I'm never going to talk about the green bubbles ever again.
Yeah, looking the fingers crossed. So we out of here. We'll be back next week to talk about who knows what. Hopefully WWE brings it with SmackDown. I do think though, if you look at Asuka's back, who else is coming back? There's somebody else who's coming back too. But we got Bayley back. We got the call ups. I think we're in terms of in ring perspective. I think we're in for some super strong shows between now and SummerSlam. They just got to put the creative together to get it all where it needs to be. All right, so we'll be here to break everything else down for you guys. We are out. Y'all have a great week. I'm going to sleep. See y'all later.